Imagine this, a man with no power, no connections, and one weird drawing walks off a bus into the biggest city in the world and somehow ends up running one of the largest companies in America. But this isn't some feel-good fairy tale. Behind the suits and skyscrapers is a plan to destroy him. And just when you think he's hit rock bottom, time literally stops. If you're into stories where ambition meets madness and miracles show up with a punchline, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and drop your favorite twist moment in the comments. Cause stories might sound the same, but they hit different when I'm the one telling them. It's December 1st, 1958, and the money machine at Hudsucker Industries is humming. Business is booming, profits are up, stock is soaring, and the boardroom feels smug enough to bottle and sell. But just when it seems like nothing could go wrong, wearing Hudsucker, the company's founder and president, sprints across the boardroom table and dives out the 45th floor window. No warning, no goodbye, just gravity. And while most would be frozen in shock, Vice President Sidney J. Musburger barely blinks. He shifts gears from grief to strategy faster than you can say hostile takeover. The real crisis? Waring owned 51% of the company, and now that he's gone, that stock is set to hit the open market in exactly 1 month. But if that happens, any random Joe with a checkbook could take control of Hudsucker, so the board wants to buy it up themselves. Except the stock is worth a fortune, and they're not that liquid. Musburger doesn't waste time with grief counseling. Instead, he cooks up a plan that's as cold as the New York winter outside. If they can't afford the stock at full price, he'll just tank it. How? By handing the company over to a complete idiot, someone so wildly unqualified, investors will panic and the stock will plummet. All they need is a puppet with a pulse, someone who can sit in the big chair, smile for the cameras, and quietly wreck everything. But finding a fool that clueless, even in a city this big, that's gonna take some digging. Lucky for Musburger, the perfect stooge has just stepped off the bus. Enter Norville Barnes, wide-eyed, suitcase in hand, fresh from the Muncie School of Business. Armed with a shiny new degree and big dreams, he's come to New York to make it big and possibly get run over by it. Norville's got an invention he believes will change the world, and he shows it to everyone he meets. It's a drawing of a circle, no labels, no explanation, just a lone, perfect ring scribbled on paper. You know, for kids, he says, but nobody does. While the boardroom was still wiping Waring off the pavement, Norville Barnes was busy surviving his first morning in the Hudsucker mailroom. As the new guy, he's immediately handed the worst task possible, delivering a top priority blue letter straight to Musburger. And in Hudsucker Industries, blue means doom. But before Norville can drop it off, he sees his big chance. He barges into Musburger's office, proudly flashes his mysterious circle drawing, you know, for kids, and launches into a pitch no one asked for. In under 60 seconds, he lights a contract on fire, turns the office into a war zone, and nearly sends Musburger tumbling out the window. Total disaster or perfect timing? Because in that chaotic mess, Musburger sees exactly what he's been looking for. A sweet, clueless patsy with just enough ambition to follow orders and sink the company. Just like that, Norville Barnes goes from mailroom nobody to president of Hudsucker Industries. All it takes is a sharp suit, a clean shave, and a clueless grin. They move him into the executive suite, perched high above the city, right next to Musburger's office, separated only by the giant gears of the company's enormous clock. It doesn't just tell time, it rules it. It's here that we meet two quiet figures who seem to exist outside the chaos of the boardroom. One is the kind-eyed clock keeper, always watching, always winding. The other, a grumbling repairman with grease on his hands and mischief in his eyes. They don't say much, but they don't have to. One seems to protect time, the other maybe twist it. Over at the Manhattan Argus, something smells fishy. A mailroom flunky becomes president overnight? Yeah, that's front page material. So the editor-in-chief, gruff, chain-smoking, and allergic to nonsense, sends in his best weapon, Amy Archer, a fast-talking, Pulitzer-winning reporter with a radar for corporate schemes. She goes undercover as a broke girl from Muncie, tugging on Norville's hometown heartstrings. He hires her instantly as his secretary. Classic Norville. At first, Amy thinks she's cracked the case. She sees him as a complete moron and writes a snarky expose that hits like a wrecking ball. The stock tanks. Musburger grins. But then, something shifts. She watches Norville fumble through meetings with big ideas and bigger hope. He's not corrupt. He's just lost. And somewhere between pity and honesty, she starts to fall for him. Not the title, not the office. The guy who still believes a circle could change the world. Now sitting in the big chair, Norville decides it's time to change the world, starting with his circle. He orders the company to manufacture his mysterious invention, no matter how weird it looks on paper. Musburger, of course, is thrilled. Let the fool crash crash the company himself, he smirks. One circle to bankrupt them all. The factory floor roars to life. Machines spin, workers scratch their heads, and shipments go out. It's clunky, it's plastic, it's pointless. Until, suddenly, it's everywhere. Norville's circle is the hula hoop, and it hits the market like a tornado. Kids are obsessed. Stores can't keep them in stock. And Hudsucker? The stock price doesn't just rise, it rockets. Musburger watches in horror as his puppet becomes a golden goose. Musburger's not done yet. He's watched Norville stumble into success, but now he wants him destroyed. So he digs up the elevator guy, Buzz, the gum-chewing motor mouth with a minor grudge and a major ego. Musburger feeds him a story, and suddenly Buzz is on record claiming he invented the hula hoop. Barnes stole it, he says. The press eats it up, but Musburger's not finished twisting the knife. He also discovers Norville's sweet secretary is actually Amy Archer, the reporter who roasted him on page 1. Norville's heart? Shattered. His trust? Gone. The betrayal breaks him. He spirals. Tie loose, eyes hollow, no more pep in his step. So Musburger brings in the final blow. Dr. Hugo Bronfenbrenner, a cartoonish psychiatrist with a clipboard and zero ethics, who declares Norville mentally unfit for office. And just like that, Norville Barnes is out, one floor down from the top and still falling. New Year's Eve, the city's alive with champagne and confetti, but Norville Barnes is drowning in regret. He's not at a party. He's at a beatnik bar, nursing heartbreak like it's the house special. That's where Amy Archer finds him. She's stripped of her reporter persona now, just a woman who's sorry. She begs for forgiveness, tries to explain, but Norville's done listening. He's made up his mind. He heads back to the Hudsucker building, not as the president, but as the kid who started in the mailroom. He puts on his old apron, walks through the empty halls, and climbs out onto the ledge. This time, he's not playing CEO. He's ready to jump, but just as he slips, fate, or something greater, intervenes. Halfway down, Norville freezes in midair. Not a metaphor, not a dream. He literally stops falling. Up in the tower, the clock keeper has jammed a broom handle into the gears of the massive company clock, and just like that, time stands still. Suspended in midair, inches from death and seconds from midnight, Norville Barnes meets a ghost. But not just any ghost. It's wearing Hudsucker, floating beside him in a white suit and a heavenly glow. No halo, no harp, just wisdom and a wry smile. Turns out, being dead gives you a lot of clarity. Wearing gently reminds Norville of something he forgot. The blue letter. The one he was supposed to deliver on his first day. The one that's been sitting in his apron pocket ever since. Norville opens it with shaking hands, and inside is everything. Waring admits that for all his wealth, he was miserable. He lost the only woman he ever loved, chasing success he didn't even want. But the letter's real surprise? Waring left all his shares, 51% of the company, to whoever the board chooses as the next president. He thought it would be Musburger, but it wasn't. It was Norville. That means Norville owns the company. He's free. No stockholder pressure, no corporate puppeteers. He just has to survive long enough to use it. Up in the tower, time isn't just ticking. It's fighting back. The clockkeeper and the greasy repairman finally face off, fists flying in a battle of good versus chaos. Gears grinding all around them. In the scuffle, the broom gets knocked loose. Down below, Norville starts falling again. 43 floors. One last plummet. But just before fate seals the deal, pow! The clockkeeper throws a punch so clean it sends the repairman's false teeth sailing across the room and straight into the gears of the clock. Crunch. Time stops again. Norville freezes in midair, now only 2 feet from the sidewalk. The clock creaks. The gears groan. Then, tick. Time resumes. Norville drops those final inches, lands on his feet, and walks away like it was nothing. No injuries, no pain. Just one clear thought ringing in his head. He loves her. So he bolts through the city, racing to the bar where Amy Archer sits in disbelief. And without a boardroom or a headline between them, he finally tells her. Norville Barnes is back on top. This time, for real. He's no longer a puppet or a pawn. He owns the company. He earned it. And he's not alone. Amy Archer's by his side. Not undercover, not on assignment, just his girl. Meanwhile, Musburger unravels. When he learns the truth, that he could have had everything he wanted if he just waited, he completely snaps. Power, presidency, control, all lost to his own greed. They carry him out in a straitjacket, muttering about morons and mailrooms. Straight to the sanitarium. Cut to the next board meeting. Norville stands confidently at the head of the table, Amy smiling beside him, and he holds up another mysterious sketch. A circle, with edges this time. You know, for kids. The frisbee. The board applauds like they've just seen the future, and for once, they might actually be right. Fade to white. Cue music. Roll credits. The circle is complete. So now tell me, if you were handed all the power in the world, but everyone around you wanted to watch you fail, would you take the chance anyway? Or walk away before the clock runs out? Let me know in the comments. And if this recap made you feel something, whether it was wonder, rage, or just a solid, "What did I just watch?" show it some love with a like and a sub. More wild stories are on the way. Until next time, stay curious, stay sharp, and keep watching the clock.